Hey everybody, this is Belit, and this is Injustice 2, episode 14. Is it episode 14? I believe it is episode 14. Here's my poopy butt Batman. Yeah, not much to say here. Batman, I feel, is probably one of the stupidest and strongest characters in the game. He's undeniably top 5, but what really makes me upset about him is just how brain dead easy he is. Like, I don't even do any of the crazy, like, cancels, like, trait cancels and everything. I'm just one of those kinds of players that just, I feel like my opponent will never not press buttons. So whenever they don't press buttons, I'm always shocked. So I never go for cancels or anything like that because I never feel like I can do them. I'm always surprised if my opponent blocks anything. Like, not mix-up wise. I expect them to block my mix-ups. I have that mentality. But just anything in neutral, if they block, I'm just like, what? You decided to block? You didn't press a button while I was pressing buttons on you? What? You actually did something that you should have been doing the whole time? What? So, I'm just like... I don't know. I just don't get into that kind of stuff because it just seems that my opponents are always mashing buttons on me all the time. So I've kind of shied away from gameplay like that. And I instead try to go for just figuring them out or laming them out in their face, I guess, which is really weird. But Batman is one of the characters that just does whatever the heck he wants. You can make him a rushdown character, you can make him a zoning character, you can make him anything in between, and you can do it for pretty much no effort whatsoever. And it's so good. He's so good. And then you compare him to some of the other characters, and it's just like, well, you know, I don't know what you're trying to do here with, I don't know, half the cast, but you might as well just play Batman. You know, you'll be able to get to the point much faster if you just play Batman instead of, you know, trying to fiddle around with, you know, overcomplicating the game. Just play Batman, you know. Anyway, I like to throw Batman in from time to time just to, I guess, turn my brain off, more or less. Playing Batman is just a little bit more relaxing because I know I don't have to do too much. I don't have to really think. And I know I'm really dumping on Batman right now. He's my favorite, like, DC character. He's my favorite superhero of all time. It's just, you know, in the game, he's just really, he's really too simple. But yeah, I like to throw in a little bit of Batman from time to time. And I do want to try to get into some of the more, I guess, quote-unquote, technical gameplay with Batman, but it feels so... I want him to get nerfed so I don't feel bad doing it to people, I guess. That's kind of how I feel with quite a few characters. Like, I'd love to play Batman if you know, I could respect myself a little bit more, you know? It's just, he's too good, I feel, for me to really put the time in and play and to feel good about using. It's weird. So I hope he gets kind of nerfed a little bit, and then once he does, then I'd really like to kind of explore him a little bit more and kind of get comfortable with, you know, doing all the cancels and stuff and figuring out how that kind of game goes and how to read the opponent when you're doing those cancels and stuff like that. So to essentially dive into him a little bit more. But I'm not going to do that until he comes down a little bit. And speaking of waiting for characters to get nerfed, Atrocitus. Whenever I play Atrocitus as Wonder Woman, I generally find that I do well in the first few games, but then I quickly stop doing well. And I think that it's because I generally have one thing that I can do against the Atrocitus players, and that's the air shield toss. But once they understand that I have the air shield toss and that's pretty much it, then it kind of changes very quickly. The thing with Atrocitus is that his normal strings are just, they're so good. And then he can sit with Dexstar and Pew Pew and I don't know what that move is called. Is it Blood NATO? From far away, and that's just his chip, you know. And Wonder Woman, like, she's not a rushdown character, so when the trait is gone, what am I gonna do? You know, he's gonna be full screen. I'm gonna go over there and do what? You know. So that's how I feel the matchup generally goes. I mean, you're gonna see times when an Atrocitus player doesn't understand that I don't have real options to hit them with, and so they kind of kill themselves just by making bad decisions. But I think the matchup generally goes, the Atrocitus player figures out that you have that tool, and then they just win. I'm not sure how to adjust from there. If I decide to stay on the ground and throw ground shield tosses, well, then I open myself up to blood NATOs because they hit low, so I can't, you know, very readily do the motion for the back forward without opening myself up to the low there. So anyway, on to the next match. We'll talk a little bit more about Atrocitus in the future. I'm sure I'll have plenty more Atrocitus gameplay to talk about as far as the matchup goes. Here's a little bit more Dr. Fate. This guy had a microphone, and he said some things after the match, I believe. Maybe even during them. Yeah, it looks like he did it during as well. I couldn't quite hear. I normally, you know, have some kind of music playing when I play. So, and then I also have the TV down, kind of. Not too bad, but enough that, you know, I can't really hear someone mumbling into their microphone, and I'm not wearing a headset myself, so it's coming through the TV, so it's being met with all of the other sound coming out of the TV, and then my music playing, so it's not really gonna get in there. But I wish that he didn't get so bent out of shape about it, about the Dr. Fate stuff, because I would have liked to play him a few more times. But unfortunately, it's just kind of the thing that there's so much zoning in the game. And what I mean by so much zoning is so many people play zoning in the game that I'm sure he was just fed up with it. And it's, you know, I understand the frustration. I'll just leave it at that. I understand getting frustrated if you've been playing it over and over and over again. I get it. It gets boring after a certain point, and you know, I had my feelings about Injustice 1 zoning. Injustice 1 zoning, however, I don't think was as powerful, I think, as Injustice 2 zoning has turned out to be. Just because generally in Injustice 1 you got a dash. You know, if you block something, you got a free dash after it, and that meant a heck of a lot. But you don't get a free dash anymore. But, well, I mean, you don't always get a free dash anymore, I'll say it that way. And so now it's something you've got to deal with a little bit more. It's a little bit harder to deal with, and because of that, the ease of using some of those characters is just that much more annoying. So yeah, anyway, I talk about this too much. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.